3, 2, 1. What is good, everyone, and good evening. You're here for another episode of Mic Check on Riz Radio Live 365. I am your not so humble host, Steve, real name, no gimmicks. And folks, I got another banger interview signed up for you tonight, man. I am always enthused and happy when people will share their time with me in spite of all the real world stuff going on. And I got a homie from the past here with me, a juggernaut in the New York area scene, repping Brooklyn all the way to Washington Heights, man. She's lived everywhere, Queens, all over the place, and has left her mark and is now leaving her mark on TikTok. Please help me introduce and join and bring in my good friend, All That Jazz. Jazzy, how you living?
I'm great. That was quite the introduction.
Much better than the first one we did. Yo, if you folks are tuning in right now, we got some music we're going to be playing for you tonight. We're going to get into a great conversation about jazz, the things she's got going on in her life, projects she's working on, and talking about the past. My favorite subject. Y'all, let's listen to some music. We'll be right back. And here we are back on Live 365. Can be a little jarring for my guests because they're like, does this dude have like epilepsy? It's multiple personalities, got to do multiple intros. But let's talk about you for a second. Let's give the people the intro to you. Where are you from? Tell us how you grew up.
Ooh, I grew up, I lived in the Bronx till I was 10, and then my mom moved us to Queens because it was the middle of the crack epidemic. So it was like 1986, around there. And, she didn't want this little blonde girl home around that. So we lived in Queens, but then I've always been very independent. So I left my mom's when I was 16.
Right.
And I've been in Brooklyn pretty much since the move here.
Right.
But I was everywhere.
I do.
I was everywhere.
I do know. Shout out to East New York. For real.
East New York. Yes, I went to high school in East New York,
If you know, you know. Now, so you came up during the time, same period as me. I think I have you by like 2 or 3 years, but we're not going to get into ages or anything like that. Coming up during that time, late 80s, 90s, 2000s, it's hard for me to explain it to people. Like when I was in LA and I was talking to people and they're like telling me about their gang stories, I'm like, that's cool, man.
That's cool, but do you know?
you ain't
red top, blue top, 245.
Exactly. Coming up during that time, man. What was it like for you, a young lady, and like what was some people might call the last great era of New York? What was that like?
Our era was the last great era.
Yes, yeah. Our era was the last great era.
Our era, like, it was amazing. I mean, I don't think that there'll ever be a time like what we had. I mean, these kids are trying to do it now, but they're completely like clueless. They have no idea. And this is post social media. Back then, it was pre social media. We actually enjoyed the parties. We enjoyed the DJs. We enjoyed what we were watching or what we were attending. Like they're just like, I'm at the show.
Let me post
us. We were dancers, so it was like, if you ain't dancing, we ain't vibing.
If you ain't dancing, you plotting, and that's how I always scoped out things. I'm like, why is this fool not dancing?
But so, it was amazing.
Now, let me ask you a question. So we know each other from the rave scene, right? That's how we know each other. New York's 90s, 2000s rave scene. But prior to that, man, and this is something I've always enjoyed about you, you have such a deep knowledge about all things music, man. I remember having some very deep conversations about music with you in regards to hip hop, rap, everything. How did you get into it? Like I think everyone has their own coming of age moment. How did you first get into hip hop?
Well, my mom was a house head.
Okay.
Like I remember watching my mom get ready. She had a mohawk. She would do like the 80s crazy eyeshadow, and she was going to the garage.
Okay.
Exactly. And my dad was a DJ.
Okay.
And he was also a very good dancer. So my mom was a house head. That, and then being in Lane in East New York, I went to aviation first, and then my mom kind of pulled me because there was too many boys for her. So I ended up going to Lane, which was the worst school you could ever imagine.
Right.
And I was like the lightest person there. And I was just like, I'm going to make friends with every gang member in this school. And that's what I did. And I spent all of my sophomore year going to hooky jams,
Right. Right.
the reggae, you
Right.
know. I was around people who were in bands. So I was very alternative and hip hop in high school. It
Right.
was just I was going to concerts. I was going to see Korn and the Far Side at 16. You know what I'm saying? So it was always integrated. I dressed alternative, but I was a hip hop head. Like
Right.
boom bap hip hop, Mos Def Black Star hip hop. Like, you know?
You said that with your chest. You said I can see we're gonna go there tonight, man. Yeah, it's crazy because here's the thing, right? The first time I encountered you, right? It wasn't even like we met. It was on, and we probably should save this part for like the green room side.
Mm-hmm.
One of those nights where all I like to think of us as new school hustlers back then. You know what I'm saying? Like we kind of ran circles. We kind of ran circles around people that were doing things one way. And go ahead.
I think we created a completely different. Yeah. We took it and ran with it. We did our own thing, but we ran circles.
But you get back to the being an alternative kid coming up. If you don't mind, Jasmine is Boricua, right? And during the time when you were coming up, man, maybe you can help me remember this because I was trying to tell some youngsters this. I don't feel like there was a great divide between our communities back then. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like you went to school with who you went to school with. Maybe our parents' generation may have had some static, but when we were coming up, it was like everyone was on the same train with each other. Or did you have a different experience?
My school was like 80% black kids, then all Spanish kids, and the white kids were actually the minority.
Right.
But also during that time, it was a lot of gangs. So it was the black kids didn't like us Spanish kids. The black girls didn't like my hair. The Spanish kids didn't like the black boys. The Dominicans didn't like the Puerto Ricans. Like it was crazy. I saw some crazy things.
Yeah,
and it was divided in my school.
Really? See, maybe I'm just walking through the world, and that's why people used to call me Dream. Like in Harlem, I guess because of the proximity of Spanish Harlem, and we all had to go to the same school.
Yeah, that's
so it was like an uptown thing. Once again, proving the superiority of Harlem to all these other places that you people grew up. No shade to Queens and Brooklyn, but y'all kind of different out there, man.
Listen to the catch. My high school was huge.
Okay.
And half of it was literally on the borderline of Queens and Brooklyn. Half of it was in Queens, half of it was East New York. So you're having kids from Woodhaven.
Right.
Jamaica.
Right.
New York.
Right.
It was just Bushwick. It was just a cluster. I don't know if I could curse word. Yeah.
It's a melting pot. Going back to the boom bap era of hip hop, and you said something that was dope. You're going to see Far Side, and you're going to see Korn. Can you speak to the audience what that's like for a minority child to be into that type of music back then?
Oh, we got picked on. It was like, not Far Side, because that was hip hop. But listening to Korn, my first concert was Sonic Youth. Do people even know who Sonic Youth is?
No.
Like, it's super indie alternative. It's a guy named Thurston Moore plays the guitar. But that was my first concert. It was just, EJ.
Yes.
So remember, I was with EJ and Udi and that's who I grew up. That was my crew. So we were in hip hop. We grew up in the hood, but we had this thing. That's how we started. We started going to concerts, alternative concerts, and then we went into raves.
Yo, one of the things that always amazed me about you was though you never gave in to, you know what I'm saying? Like you move a lot. All of us that are actually like from New York, and that's no shade because shout out to CC, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Philadelphia, that whole crew over there, you know what I'm saying? But the kids that were from New York, I just felt like we moved a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? Like we could I went to a Dead Prez concert one night, and then right after that, went right over the CBGBs because there was a rumor that Fishbone was going to be there. Of course, they weren't there. Right? Like I walked all the way over to the west side. Over to the east side from the west side. Do you, as a parent, this is where I want to get a little personal. Then we'll jump into the adult conversation.
Hmm.
You as a parent, do you want that same experience for your son? Do you want him to have that eclectic experience?
Yes, I just took him to his first concert.
Where did you guys go?
Janet Jackson and Ludacris.
Yeah. How did he like it? How did he like it?
Loved it. The kid loved it. Yeah.
Yo,
I've
shout out-
been taking him to shows since he was little. In New York, they do summer stage and everything.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
taken him to see Black Moon. They did a Prodigy when Prodigy passed away. I took him to the park for that whole little event. So I've been taking him since he was little.
See, and that's something that I think is really beautiful. It's like not only you passing down like your own indicative, like native culture, but passing down the culture that helped shape you. Folks, we're gonna jump into some music, and actually, I'm gonna have picks tonight from Jazzy, her favorite hip hop tracks, and we'll be playing that throughout the show. So whenever it is one of her tracks, I will present it and say this is a Jazzy pick. We'll be right back. All right, we're back in here. Mic check with your man Steve here on Riz Radio with my co-host, All That Jazz. We were talking about hip hop and Jazzy's experience with hip hop, being an alternative kid. Now we got to start shooting stray shots. The state of hip hop right now, Jazzy. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it.
Ooh, it's sad. It's
What?
sad. But is it hip hop though?
Okay, let's talk about it. Is it hip
You're
hop?
not saying anything. And if you're saying anything, I don't understand it and I can't hear it. So you should try to pronunciate your words because it's getting lost in the mumble jumble.
Like so,
There's only certain people I like that
Right,
are
right.
out,
right.
but as far as
Who do you like? Who do you like that's out right now?
Griselda, the
Griselda.
whole Griselda, I love them.
So wait, you're not feeling. So let me just throw out some names. Not feeling
ahead.
Cardi B.
Who?
Cardi B.
Oh, I like Cardi B.
But what
But
about?
it's not like,
Yeah. She's not kicking bars. is what I'm saying.
I'm saying like Party Next Door writes her lyrics, right?
It's
Right.
that's,
So
that's
basically, we're listening to Mr. Fontaine. Like, whatever his partisan, that's his name. Like
Well,
he writes for her.
yeah,
right?
that's the allegation. You know what I'm saying? I
don't think it's an allegation. I think it was like.
Oh no! It's 100, almost 100% confirmed. You know who outed her on that? I want to say it was Flex. Flex. I'm not trying to put any dirt on your name or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure Flex was the one. Like Cardi, I'm gonna keep it a whole buck with you. You know, you don't write your own lyrics, and that's where the whole thing just started snowballing. Which I think is that's a huge L in hip hop. What do you think, man?
At this point, like right now, the kids don't care about that.
That's a good point.
They just want consumption of content. It's just massive consumption as fast as they can get it, and then they're bored with it in 7 days.
That's now.
Nobody even gets to live and sit with an album because
don't even touch
something else is coming out, and then you forget about what you was just listening to.
What about Meg Thee Stallion? Now that's a young lady that everyone seems to really enjoy. I'm not her biggest fan, but I like some of her tracks. What do you think about Meg?
A few songs. I don't mind Meg. I like his song.
Right.
She said some bars.
Yeah.
Megan's Law thing was witty.
That was
I see what she did there.
That was a headshot.
I see what she did there. That was cool. But did you hear what her ex did? That song was great when he aired her out. That was a good song.
Yes.
I was like, ooh. And now I know why he writes for Cardi B.
And see, this is the crazy
But
thing.
he writes for a lot of females, I've heard.
Yeah. He writes for a lot of males too, I've also heard. You know what I'm saying? And like I just feel like maybe it was kept under wraps more when we were coming up, man. But that was one of the worst accusations when we came up during our phase of hip-hop. If someone said you had a ghostwriter, you're like, I got to see this dude. You are trying to end my career right now by even alleging that. And now it's like one of the biggest rappers in the world is confirmed to have a ghostwriter, and everyone's like, I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, but it's the target.
I was gonna ask you about that. We're talking about
SKUs.
all the SKUs.
All the SKUs.
Yo, did you get the vibe that Mos Def was hating, or was he just folks? If you don't know, we're talking about Mos Def being interviewed recently, and someone asked him a question: "Is Drake hip hop?" And he responded that Drake's music is compatible with shopping. Take it away, Jazzy.
I don't think he was hating. I think it's not hip hop. Most
Right.
stuff is hip hop.
Yes.
Like it lives and breathes hip hop. This is not hip hop. It's all like there's a whole camp. They got a whole OVO camp just cooking stuff up with your little ghostwriter.
Right.
And then you get mad if Joe Budden says your album was trash, but don't get mad because you didn't write it, bro.
Right. Well, you taking it so personal. So then what's it like for you being in this generation? Like for my generation, what do you listen to? What are you doing for yourself musically?
A lot of old. I do. I listen to a lot of Jay-Z and a lot of 90s hip hop, but I listen to a lot of, our time.
Doesn't that make you a hating ass old head though?
I like a lot of. Don't say that. There's some songs I do like, and why I like it is because of TikTok. So it's like I can't get away from it. It's catchy, and I like it. But if I'm gonna like spend money, and you know whose album I do like?
Who's that?
21 Savage's new album is great.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. It is a very, very. It's a listenable album.
He did a good job.
He gave it his best effort.
Well, that's his first solo, right? Because he's only been.
Is it his first solo?
He did Drake, and it was him. I feel like it's his first solo album.
Well, wait, hold on. Let's go back for a second. Actually, screw 21 Savage. He ain't paying no bills over here.
Okay.
I just want to talk to you because you are a social media influencer, but you've had an impact in many different ways. But you're doing your thing over there on TikTok, and let's talk about how you got started in that.
The pandemic, and my son told me to create one, and I said absolutely not. And he was like, "Just do it," and I was like, "Kid, get away from me with your TikTok." He's like, "Just do it. You're funny." He's like, "Just do it," and I was just like, "Fine, I'll do it." I don't know what happened, but somewhere along the way, I gained a whole bunch of followers, and now I'm getting like brand deals, and every day is Christmas in my house, and it's great.
Yo,
I never thought anything was gonna come of it at all.
Well, listen,
I love every minute of it.
Look. So you're just like every other creative I know. You buried the lead. Yo, not too many people get to do something on a platform and break through the algorithm, right? And not too many people do it and stick with it. But very few people get shouted out by celebrities. I woke up one morning to a post of yours on Facebook, which is a screenshot of a certain celebrity responding to one of your TikToks, and that blew my mind. Did I not see Rosie?
She follows me.
Tell
Rosie O'Donnell. Yes, she follows me.
Why did you almost seem surprised that I know that, man? Like how
I did. I was very surprised.
I'm telling you, I'm the best on this mic. I know things about people. I know things about people.
Surprised.
Now tell me, how did that happen?
The funny thing is, okay, everybody. So when a new like a celebrity joins TikTok, it's like a big deal. They'll be like, "Oh, this person's on TikTok," and everybody, tries to like get them to follow them or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, my algorithm for TikTok is like super gay TikTok, super lesbian TikTok, and all the lesbians were making videos for Rosie to follow them. And I don't know how, I don't know when, but one day I was scrolling and it said new followers, and it was her, and I was like, what? And I made a post about it. I was like, Rosie O'Donnell's following me, and she duetted it.
What does that mean? I don't understand the TikTok.
Take somebody's video and duet it. So it means like it's gonna take their video, make it a split screen, so now you can respond to the video that they were making.
And so when she did that, what feelings were going through you at that moment?
I screamed so loud in the house, and my son was pooping on the toilet, and he got terrified. But I was like, Rosie O'Donnell, and I was like, shit, my camera wasn't on, it didn't record my reaction. No, it was amazing. I don't know. She still follows me. She's active too. Like she'll
Right.
like, and she's on lot. She's very active with like the people that are on there. Very active.
Yeah, it's so dope, man, because I know a lot of kids get their parents into doing these videos and stuff. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the type of content that you and your son make. And then we got to talk about the major business impact that a certain media group just had on your content. And I thought you did a great video about that. Of course, I'm
Okay.
talking about Universal. Let's listen to these tracks and we'll be right back. And we're back here on Mic Check, Riz Radio Live 365. Steve, real name, no gimmicks. So, Jazzy, my co-host tonight, TikTok. You guys had a universal, pun intended, shift in the way you present content now.
Listen, they're gonna settle quick. It's all right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Universal Media Group has pulled in a dispute with TikTok over revenue. Click revenue is the simplest way to put it, has pulled their music from the platform. Let's start with how has that impacted you, if at all, as a content creator?
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all. One, they found to work a way around.
Okay.
So you know the Money Long song, "Not for Me" or "Made for Me" or whatever.
Yeah.
It was really popping on TikTok,
Right.
but they took the original down, which they muted my video. So now me and my son look dumb. But what she did was she uploaded her doing it live, and they can't take that down.
Oh.
Why do I have fireworks?
That's what I was saying before. You got a like button came up. That's why I was asking you if you were live.
No, I didn't do that.
But anyway,
But no, I mean, there's some songs that I go and I'm like, ugh. Like yesterday we made a video and they muted it. But I'm searching for the live version, so I'm gonna get it.
So
it's dumb because Sony did the deal already. They renewed their contract, and what's the other one?
Atlantic or
it was two. It was Sony and I don't know, but they settled. It's just
them holding out.
But they're hurting the artists at the end of the day, especially new artists like Tyler. Tyler blew up because of that song "Water" on TikTok.
Right.
You're doing a disservice to the artist. So you're saying you're for the artist, but are you really though?
Right.
Because there's how many billion people on TikTok? 2 billion, 3 billion people?
Right. That's a good point. It's the biggest social media platform.
These songs take off on TikTok. You want that.
Let me ask you another question, man. In regards to your content and the music aside, how would you describe your content for someone coming to your page for the first time?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff I can't post and I won't post because it's my child. But it's all like it's like funny mom stuff for me and my kid, or me just it's just funny stuff. A lot of reviews, a lot of what I do, a lot of food, and I don't know, it's a good time.
And then there's my favorite one, the story times. Now, for legal reasons, we're not going to get into the specifics for the story time because I know you.
Yeah.
But I love when people use their content this way, in a way where it's like you brought a level of accountability to the workplace, without endangering yourself or anything that's going on. Tell us how the whole story time thing got started.
Oh, story times are great. People want to know the tea. They want to know. They want to know like what these people are doing out here. Story times are great. I had squatters in my house. Did you see those story times last year? Like, who does this? You pretended you were a property manager. I came to move in. There was 8 squatters in the house. What did you think I can use? The only thing I can. I got my platform.
How did you get the squatters out? How did that whole thing end? Well, why don't you give the people the whole story, man? Give them the quick version, man. What
basically, we went to rent a house, signed, gave a deposit. The day we were moving in, I put in the last item, and the lady next door was like, "Come over here." Our kids went to school together. She was like, "They're squatting in the house." I was like, "What?" So I pressed them, and the dude ran. So I started going there every day. The cop. Then she called the cops on me because I said I was gonna break her face, but I didn't. She said she called the cops on me for saying I was gonna break her face through the door if I didn't get my money back. They came and arrested her for felony charges. She's on 18 months probation now, and she had to pay me restitution for all the money she took from me.
Hey.
I kicked that door down. Actually, shout out to my best friend who drove down from Orlando and kicked the door down for me while playing 50 Cent in front of the house. We was like, we will wait here all day. We went back a little bit in time, but we had to do what we had to do. So yeah, Get Rich or Die Trying was playing very loudly in front of the house.
Yeah, I almost can imagine which song is playing, man. There's one track off of that album, man, where 50 Cent, I think this is the song that completely did Ja Rule, where he literally says, yo, mammy, yo, pappy, you chasing, yo, dirty little, I'll effing erase him. I was just like, oh
that.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, so you're doing the story times. I've always wanted to ask you a question. Since we're on radio, where would you be taking your content next? Because I'm gonna say this and keep it a bean. You could be, in my opinion, like a Remy Ma, Angie Martinez for the TikTok world. But are you scared to lean into it that heavy?
So I'm gonna tell you a little secret. I was supposed to start a radio show.
Right.
And it was Nona.fm. It's a radio app, and I knew the guy that owned it, and we were actually getting ready to do everything. And he passed away from throat cancer like 3 weeks ago. So that's not happening right now, but that's what was planned since December. So I don't know. I need to do something. I feel like I need to do something.
I can see it, folks. If you get a chance, and I'll make sure if you're in the Discord for the live, I'll get you all the links and everything like that. But honestly, given the way you break stuff down, right? And folks, if you want to hear the real breakdown, what we're talking about, you got to catch the full podcast over on Spotify. It's not for family radio consumption, but I could really see you doing some stuff where you're just like airing people out. In fact, I'm not gonna lie to you, when the Meg Stallion and Nicki Minaj beef kicked off, I went to your page just to see if you were going to say anything about it. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have a secret page.
Oh,
I have a gossip page.
Gotta hide it from the brand, right? Gotta hide it from
Jazzy's Tea Time. But yeah, I just started that recently, and I've kind of been like not consistent with it. But while I was it was gaining traction.
Right.
But I've kind of been lazy with it. But yes, I created a gossip page just with all the drama. The drama. It was a lot of Blueface and Krishan going on at that time, okay?
Yeah, they gave everyone
I was like, I should have put Benzino crying. I heard the episode before they put it on the freaking social media. I was so mad. I was like, I had it first.
Bro. Well, forget the Nicki Minaj and Meg beef.
Talk about Eminem?
Yo, sir, can we talk about Benzino, former owner or editor or whatever he was at the source? This guy, Benzino, used to be one of those dudes I'd be like, man, he's probably really with the business. And to see him on Drink Champs crying, it broke my heart a little bit.
The whole interview. Did you hear the whole interview?
No.
Okay, so let me tell you what the problem is with the crying.
Okay.
The problem is when he first came on, he was like, "Hi, Nori, we gonna talk about Eminem? That's why we're here, right? F Eminem, this, that, and Eminem, this, that. Joe Budden, F Joe Budden, F Eminem, everything." Then they would talk about stories, and he would be back. Can we talk about Eminem? And they were like, "We did." And then an hour and a half later, he was saucy. And I got nothing against Eminem. That's so embarrassing. Like, I want to know what he felt like after watching it. Because they don't edit on Drink Champs.
No.
There's no editing.
No. It goes up.
That's it. Whatever it is, it is.
You say it, now you got to live with it, man.
But he's a crier also. It's not the first time you've seen him cry. Wasn't he crying outside his baby mama house? Wait, he got with you with another man. Remember that?
Yo, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
did you hear him? Wait, he was going, I have a neck. Everybody's got a neck. Kidding me? I could not.
Yo, it's so sad, man, because I tried to start a campaign called "Let's Keep Old Gangsters Off the Internet." Right? Like, if my dad came to me and said, "Hey, son, I want to do TikTok," I'm like, "I am on my way. Don't you touch that phone and don't you old guys, you old gangsters, man, y'all need to get off it." But when I seen him breaking down Jazz, and he's like, "It's been 22 years. Everybody wants to talk to me about Eminem. I'm tired of talking about. I just want to meet up with him, give him a hug."
But you're talking about him. You guys just made a diss record to each other. What are we supposed to do? It's been a 22-year beef of somebody that you're never going to catch in the street.
Right.
Right? Eminem don't leave his house. Okay? Where have you seen Eminem?
No, he's not.
Marshall's, first of all, there would be pandemonium. Did I say that right? Whatever. If he was in the street. Can you imagine?
Right.
He's in his compound. Benzino, you ain't never gonna catch him. And at this point, that whole little rap beef is dead now. Eminem won. There should not be a response. There should be nothing. The beef should be automatically dead now.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring it up. Yo, let me ask you a question. Who's down bad? Who's like worse? Irv Gotti or Benzino? These are two guys that are uniquely in the same spot. Irv Gotti can't go anywhere without talking about Ashanti, right? Or talking about 50 Cent. And then Benzino can't go anywhere without talking about his daughter and talking about Eminem. Who's hurting more?
Well, Ashanti's pregnant.
She's doing good.
Yo, that's been the block. Her Ashanti is unbothered.
Yeah.
But he can't stop talking about her and the watch that, the this and the that, and it's like, leave that girl alone.
Sound crazy.
Leave her alone.
Yo, you sound mad crazy, man. It's so funny, man, because he doesn't want to. Irv Gotti, I feel, does not want to take his L the same way Benzino does. Like, I was listening to Irv Gotti on the Breakfast Club, and they were talking about the 50 thing, and he was like, he did acknowledge when 50 was coming, you know, same thing Jay-Z said and all that stuff. He was like, they knew that it was going to be quiet for them for a minute, but when he talks about it now, but you could still hear the hurt in his voice. He feels like people betrayed him, and I'm like, no, son, you got bodied. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Like, what are we supposed to do? And it's like, Benzino, you know what it is? Benzino's messed up. He's messed up. He ain't got no money. He's going, you know, he has all those issues with his daughter out in the public.
Right.
He has a lot. So yeah. I think that the liquor and that and everything combined, like, we've seen him cry before. Drink more. I already knew it was going to be bad.
Yo, and listen,
I listen to podcasts like the day they come out.
Right.
Whole thing. Joe Budden, Drink Champs, Brilliant Idiots. Like, I listen to them all. I knew this was not going to end well. Because he kept, is this Drink Champs? Are we drinking? And always like, we are all drinking. Everybody's drinking.
Yo, did you see Nori's face when he was crying? Yo, Nori was literally looking at him, and he's like, if you saw him, would you give him a 5? And he's like, I give him a 5. And I'm like, yo, Nori, you're an old school instigator. You know who Nori reminds me of? He reminds me of Sully. They are like, they're like the same person. You know? Like,
no, Sully's like, that's silly.
I'm gonna see if I can get him more here. But I do want you to tap it on this, man. Just because you're a hip hop aficionado. Who took the L, Nicki or Megan? Who won that?
Megan.
Right? You think so? Now, would you? What?
They nothing to say. Megan's law, bro.
Yeah, that's a cold shot.
Got you.
And she hit her in 2 different places. I didn't know that Nicki Minaj was dealing with these issues from her husband and another family member. And I'm like, yo, This is wild,
Father,
bro.
her uncle, or something, right? Or her
Allegedly,
brother, a
yeah,
brother, her
yeah.
brother, allegedly, and her husband, allegedly,
Yo,
like to touch little people, allegedly.
it's a bad looking hip hop, folks. I got my homie on here, man, and like I do, we get messy. We'll be right back after these tracks. We're back in here. Mic check with your man Steve. Real name, no gimmicks here on Riz Radio. So, Jazzy, here it is right now. Right, you have exactly 1 minute from when I shut up to tell people where they can find you, how they can support you, and what you got going on. And then the second minute of that, I want you in old Jazzy style. I just want you to read a few people. Give us a little sample of what you do on your gossip side. Just give us a little sample so we can make a clip.
You so messy. You are so messy. But if you find me, it is All That Jazz 1121, All That Jazz 1121. That is on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I think that's all the social media I have. That's all the social media I can contain. But I'm more active on TikTok than anything else because that's what pays the bills, honey.
Right.
But I should read you.
Me? Hold up.
I should read you for almost making me lose my mind one day with that court, just the hat and those butter knives and that iron. I will never forget it. I will never forget it.
What was y'all thinking, man?
First of all, you brought the person that wasn't supposed to come back. So my mind was already, and I opened the door, and I see a big black man with a lot of curly. Was it red? Was your hair red?
I think it was black. I think it was
black.
But
you had a court jester hat on. Right. What a nice. And that's not what I wanted to open the door to. I should read you. Right, Steven?
That is 100% y'all's fault. And I'm glad we're doing this on the radio and for the people in the green room. Check this out, man. These people have revisionist history, right? Now, you heard me say thank you multiple times, but y'all knew who I was when y'all met me. What part of me being a psychopath didn't y'all? And y'all like?
I was tripping balls for 6 hours already. We were having a great time, me, Annie, and Sarah, till y'all came home from the party. And I told Jillian, I said, who's coming? She said, just us. That was always our code word, just us. I said, that dude is not allowed. And what y'all do for him?
Yo, we couldn't ditch him. Okay, here's one for you. Nah, you know what? You want to read me? I'm going to read you. One time I jumped on the grenade. Pause. I jumped on the grenade and saved y'all from hanging out with that dude where everyone's like, Dream, just come with us. And I'm like, if I don't stay, he's going to follow us. And I got stuck with this dude for 2 days, man. And I remember let me not say the next part. I got stuck with him for 2 days. So I did that for y'all, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Now, just a little bit. Your shady, messy TikTok. When is that going live, man? When can we jump on that?
It's Jazzy's Tea Time. It's a soft live right now. I just need to be a little bit more consistent with it. You know, my main TikTok takes up a lot of my time, especially with all these, like, every day they're sending me packages to review or videos I have to create for brands and stuff. It's getting crazy, but we need to grow a little bit because once I get to 100K, I get some real sponsors. So that's what I'm aiming for. I was halfway to monetization with YouTube. And while moving into this house, I kind of fell off on that. So I'm going to start getting back into everything now, especially now the weather's getting better. So I have some things lined up so I can make some content.
Right.
Because I like doing the reviews and, you know, the places to go, things to do, that type of thing. Because, you know, me in New York, go to this party, go to that party. I was the woman. I ran the street team in New York for the house scene, the rave scene, so don't get it twisted.
Yeah, the only thing that kept you inside is the threat of one. I never understood. I'm like, this woman is scared of nothing except for an awkward encounter with this one idiot. When, in fact, let's end it here. Folks, thank you for coming through for Mic Check. We got to have a little bit more adult conversation because we'd be remiss if we didn't get into that. I'm going to have all of Jazzy's links available during the live chat so you can check it out. Make sure you please go over and support her TikTok. pages, and when everything else is ready, make sure you support there. It's been another great night. Peace.